Welcome back, truth seekers and power watchers. Today, we're diving deep into the murky waters of leadership, where the bold and brash often outshine the wise and worthy. Ever wonder why the loudest voice in the room seems to get all the attention, even when they're spouting nonsense? Well, buckle up, because we're about to unravel the twisted tale of why leadership so often rewards the wrong people. Picture this, a room full of brilliant minds, each with valuable insights to share. But who rises to the top? Not the careful thinker or the empathetic listener. No, it's the one with the biggest ego and the flashiest smile. Sound familiar? That's because power doesn't go to the wise, it goes to the confident. We've all seen it happen, haven't we? The person who speaks with absolute certainty, even when they're dead wrong, somehow ends up in charge. But here's the kicker. We're not just passive observers in this circus. We're the ones handing out the tickets. That's right, folks. Narcissists win because we let them. We confuse certainty for competence, mistaking a loud voice for a capable mind. It's like we're stuck in some twisted game show where the prize for being the most shameless self-promoter is, well, everything. Remember good old Machiavelli? That crafty Italian philosopher saw this coming centuries ago. He knew that the illusion of leadership is often stronger than the reality. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few know what you are. He wasn't endorsing deception, he was pulling back the curtain on the dark magic of power. So why do we keep falling for it? Well, it's called the confidence trap, and it's a doozy. When the world feels uncertain, we're drawn to those who radiate uncheckable certainty. It's like a moth to a flame, except the flame is wearing a suit and promising to make everything great again. And oh, how magnetic that grandiosity can be. Think about figures like Adam Newman of WeWork fame. He dazzled investors and employees alike with his grand vision of revolutionizing workspaces. People were practically throwing money at him. But what goes up must come down, and when it did, it was spectacular. The very traits that lifted him to dizzying heights, overconfidence, manipulation, a dash of delusion, were the same ones that sent him crashing back to earth. But here's a thought to chew on. What if real leadership isn't about being the loudest or the most charismatic? What if it's actually quiet, steady, and, dare we say it, humble? Think of leaders like Botswana's Seretse Khama or Germany's Angela Merkel. They weren't exactly setting stages on fire with their rhetoric, were they? But their impact? Transformative. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Empathy, that quality we all claim to value in our leaders, can actually become a liability at the top. Leadership often demands making tough, painful decisions. Too much empathy might leave a leader paralyzed, unable to take necessary action. So, in a twist of irony, power sometimes selects for those who feel less, not more. Chew on that for a moment. But let's not kid ourselves, deception in leadership isn't always as obvious as a bold-faced lie. The real masters of manipulation are like magicians, showing you exactly what they want you to see while the real trick happens elsewhere. It's misdirection, pure and simple, and we fall for it every time. Why? Because in this complex, often chaotic world, we're desperate for simplicity. We want leaders who can give us clear, fast answers. So we overlook those who acknowledge uncertainty and complexity. But here's the rub. Complex problems require complex thinking, not catchy slogans. When was the last time a bumper sticker solved a global crisis? Here's another uncomfortable truth. We often choose relatable over competent. Social psychology has proven that we're more likely to trust someone we'd have a beer with than someone who actually understands the problem at hand. It's why we vote for actors who play doctors on TV instead of, actual doctors. The same principle applies to presidents, CEOs, and influencers. Charisma beats character until the consequences show up. But why are we like this? Well, blame evolution. We're still tribal creatures, just in suits now. Our brains are wired to follow those who appear dominant, tall, and vocal qualities that served us well when we were dodging saber-toothed tigers, but maybe not so much when we're trying to navigate global economics or climate change. So, what's the solution? Well, it's not about finding the perfect leader. They don't exist. It's about designing systems that can survive imperfect ones. Think about the US Constitution. It wasn't built on the assumption that angels would govern. It was built on checks and balances. Machiavelli had another insight that's still relevant today: the idea of the fox and the lion. A great leader needs to be both wise enough to spot traps like a fox, strong enough to face wolves like a lion. But how often do we see that combination in our leaders today? There are modern fixes we could try. Radical transparency, rotating leadership, 360-degree reviews. These are all innovations that could help curb the rise of narcissistic or manipulative leaders, but they're rare. Why? Because the very people who benefit from the current system are the ones in charge of changing it. Perhaps the greatest deception of all is when leaders fool themselves. Power doesn't just corrupt, it deludes. The longer someone holds power, the more they start to believe their own myths. And that's when things get really dangerous. So what do? It's time to choose differently. Leadership doesn't have to be about dominance or deception. With awareness, structure, and accountability, we can reward substance over spectacle. But it starts with us, the voters, the employees, the citizens. We need to demand better, to look beyond the shiny surface and dig deeper. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a leader who seemed too good to be true? How did it turn out? Or maybe you've seen a quiet, unassuming leader make a big impact. Share your stories in the comments below. And hey, if you found this deep dive into the dark side of leadership enlightening, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're just getting started unraveling the mysteries of power. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, the wisest leader might just be the one not shouting for your attention.